If it were not for radio, this woman would be dead. This is Mark Kaniksu reporting from South Asia. Recently, I spent time with a family in a remote desert region that is representative of many of the struggles faced by families in Asia. Like most families here, Bitime is an extended one. Their primary occupation is agriculture, and they used to own quite a bit of land here. For many generations, they worshipped many gods and goddesses. Over 10 years ago, Bitime and the other women in the household began to exhibit the signs of demon possession. One of the first of these signs was that she would not recognize anyone in the family. At night, she would tear off all her clothes and run around in a state of paranoia and attempt to kill herself. This was very disconcerting to her family and children, to say the least. This is where the story gets crazy, but again, it's all too common in Asia. The family described several weird manifestations that were plaguing them, like sounds of an army of men marching on the roof of their house, little people appearing in strange locations around the house and property, voices coming out of thin air where there was no one, Bitime's bed levitating up into the air at night with no visible means of support. They described that it was as if steel cables were holding her bed 6 feet or so off the ground. The entire family could not pull it down. They spent a small fortune on many different witch doctors seeking a cure for Bitime and had to sell off a significant portion of their land. And the ineffective treatments were just as strange as the problems they were already facing. By 2007, as a result of demon possession, 3 other women in the family had died bloody, gruesome deaths. Deaths that are best left to the imagination. The family was in a state of desperation that's hard for most of us to imagine. And to make matters worse, the demons were starting to affect Bitime's daughters. And then her brother-in-law, Nanaram, was diagnosed with advanced tuberculosis and was about to die. One day, as he lay on his deathbed, they were searching the radio stations for a program about the latest cricket matches, but instead they stumbled upon someone talking about the power of Jesus to heal. Now, they'd spent a lot of time and money seeking healing from countless gods and goddesses, but had never encountered one called Jesus. The man on the radio said that if you believe in Jesus, anything is possible. Needless to say, the family was very curious about this new God, Jesus, that they were hearing about on the radio. They prayed with the radio speaker for Nanaram to be healed from TB, and to everyone's amazement, he was. As a result, they were continuously listening to Gospel for Asia's radio programs, literally carrying a radio everywhere they went. The messages they heard brought the entire family a hope they had never dreamt was possible just a few months earlier. This opened up a whole new world of possibilities for the family. Was it possible for Bitime to be cured? One of her daughters noticed that whenever she would say the name Jesus, her mom would calm down. They had been listening daily now for quite some time, and others in the family were being healed of various kinds of sicknesses. At the end of each broadcast, the speaker would give the address where they could write. But Bitime wasn't getting better, and the family was getting desperate to find a cure before she was killed by the demons. In their desperation, they decided to walk 100 miles through the desert to the office mentioned in the radio program to seek prayer for her. To make a long story short, when they arrived, our leaders were able to fully share about Jesus with the family and to pray for them and to pray for Bitime to be freed. You can't imagine the joy they all felt when they decided to give their lives to Jesus and to see Bitime finally free. For them, their despair was replaced with hope and joy. When they returned home, they had many opportunities to share with their friends and neighbors everything that had transpired while they were gone. Everyone was amazed to see the transformation that had taken place in Bitime's life. Soon they requested that we send one of our missionaries to their village, and they have been growing in their faith ever since. And today there's a growing fellowship of believers meeting in Nanaram's house. He's already marked out a plot of his land where they hope to build a church building in the very near future. Bitime's daughter Santosh told me, if it were not for this radio, my mother would be dead. The entire family is thankful for the radio broadcasts that have brought life instead of the death that they were facing. I've heard many other stories of how our radio broadcasts are beaming hope into remote, inaccessible villages, resulting in many changed lives. Radio is able to go where missionaries can't. Our radio programs offer solutions to all the common problems that families in Asia are facing, like suicide, family and relational strife, gambling, alcohol, and drug addictions. The list goes on. Thousands of our radio listeners write in every month talking about how our broadcasts have blessed their lives. Radio is one of the most cost-effective ways of reaching families in inaccessible locations. Your gift towards radio could touch thousands of lives today.